Hello everybody and welcome back to Stories, the Path of Destinies. I'm Dash Brandon, and today we're going to be starting with the Sky Ripper.
Every child knew about the Sky Ripper. The Transcendent Emperor had buried its pieces deep. And then, this Emperor's horrific sacrifices had brought it back to the surface. Renato wasn't exactly sure how to use the legendary weapon. But surely, there must be some way to do it without provoking another catastrophe. Had he, somehow, summoned the long-lost components of the legendary weapon out of the deep places of the Earth? It was more than Renato could fathom. But if he could find a legendary weapon, he would use it.
Yeah, so we're coming down to our last, I don't know, I'll check it when we get to the next choice point. Coming down to our last, I don't know, dozen or so episodes. And I hope that everyone's still having a good time with this. I'm definitely having a good time. I hope you're enjoying my new mic. I think you can hear me quite a bit better. You can also probably hear like everything else that's going on around me because this thing is super awesome and super sensitive. But I hope that that will not distract you, and I hope that it will not distract me. And I'm sorry if you can hear me smashing my buttons a lot. But I'm really trying to get through this pretty quickly. And, have us check out the rest of the stories that are available in this game. Because that's
As he
pretty
set
much the
foot
whole
on the
point of this
island,
game.
Renato couldn't help feeling a bit curious. Was Lapino still waiting to be rescued? No. He was probably drinking champagne with the ravens. Did ravens drink champagne? Did rabbits? Renato felt oddly thirsty, come to think of it. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? Renato never made plans that required constant vigilance. He was a hero. He didn't think too much. He just went with his gut and hoped it all worked out. The Sky Ripper was a long shot. He'd have to devote himself to it. No side journeys, no rescuing old friends. That was against his nature. Could he stick with it?
Ooh, I suppose. This has been quite a fun game, and I was really happy that it was available for free on PS Plus. It's no longer available for free, so if you missed it...
The people who had built this castle, did they even know what monstrous weapon lay hidden within their walls? The Sky Ripper could destroy anything it touched, or so the legend said. As the Transcendent Emperor had fought the lost gods, thousands and thousands had died. But Renato had been through wars. The only merciful war was a short one.
Come on. Open sesame. I don't know if I've ever read a joke, actually.
These things could really use a hand.
Aw, come on. Moving on. Looks like something I need to do. Alright. This is the...
Renato chuckled. It was the same puzzle. He wished he had his friends here, so he could amaze them.
Hello, my friend.
There it was. Sky Ripper's armature. The stuff that dreams are made of. Engineers' dreams, anyway. The device was intricate. No one alive had the skill to make a thing like it. How was it part of a weapon at all? He'd have to ask a scientist. But first, he'd get the second piece. Sky Ripper had a heart. A core that had come to rest on the next island. Well, there was another island he could reach. Zenobia had just invaded it with her father's Raven battalions. She must be encamped there still. But fighting Zenobia now, that made no sense at all. He'd already sacrificed one friend to get this armature, was it? He didn't need to hurry to face her. She would find him.
Looks like we need the consultor book. We need quite a few different items. What were we? 3, 7, 11, 13. So we're almost exactly halfway. Oh, there's 24 plus the actual story. So that means 25, I take it. So yeah. We are going to go find the core.
It was a no-brainer. He'd sacrificed his old friend Lapino to get the armature. And the armature was useless by itself, only a series of coils and wheels. War demanded sacrifices, and he would make more before the end. He would have to choose the greatest good, no matter how much it cost him. Zenobia. Well, he would see her sooner or later, across a battlefield or a sword's point before all this was over. He was sure of that. The power was in the core. Obviously, he had to get the core.
Yep, there are several different ways that we meet Zenobia. Sometimes we run off in love, sometimes we kill her, sometimes she kills us. What it will be this time, nobody knows. Well, at least I don't know. You might know if you've already played this story. Though I imagine if you're watching me play, you probably haven't played it.
Doubt sunk in before he was even out of sight of the Farfarer. Why had he chosen the Sky Ripper? It was the sort of path he'd always avoided. The path of responsibility, of seriousness. Had he grown up? He didn't feel grown up. He'd made this decision from his gut, like he always did. Somehow, he'd impulsively decided to stop being impulsive. Did that make any sense? There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time. Trees. There were only these huge crystalline growths. Had those been here before? He no longer heard birds except for the feverish cawing of the ravens when they attacked. He couldn't smell the small animals of the forest. The mice and rabbits. Where had they gone? He was getting hungry too. This was an unhealthy place to be. The 20-sided core made him feel physically sick. Once he had sneaked into a temple of the dark art, and he hadn't liked what he smelt and saw there. This felt like that. As quick as he could, he wrangled the icosahedron into the armature. The wheels began to spin, then glow. The sick feeling quickly spun away. Now he only felt sad. He had lost good friends for this war apparatus. Maybe Lapino wasn't such a good friend. Yeah, that made him feel better. He carried his prize back to the Farfarer. Now, he had to make his next move. There was a key Imperial outpost on the Nexus. If this really was some sort of super weapon, he could use it to wreak havoc on the enemy. And if it wasn't, well, better to know that before the final battle. But maybe he should show it to some scientists first. There was an observatory on the
I know
Nexus.
that I've only been the
Maybe
other
he should go
direction
there before he
once,
fired it.
so I'm gonna go that way to finish off like the last two.
Renato had never been much of a student.
Maybe I'll
At Sword Fu School, he'd
cut out
never
the
read the
half
books,
up to
just
this
looked at
point
the
for the
pictures.
next episode.
And Zenobia.
Like that'd probably be
But
pretty good.
weapons, he understood. His gut told him that the Sky Ripper would work great. He would use it to take out the Imperial outpost. And what's the worst that could happen? The thing wouldn't work, and then he'd take it to the scientists, right? Renato actually
Yeah, totally.
could think of a few things that were worse. But he would make sure they didn't happen this time. Right? Exactly.
Some terrible things happened last time we did this. Pardon me. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, it's not quite ready. This game does kind of have a lot of loading, but I guess it's doing a lot of talking and a lot of music. With the exception of that one spot where the background always drops out. It was pretty good.
As he set out down the path, Renato wondered why the parts of the Sky Ripper had only surfaced now, thousands of years after the Transcendent Emperor had discarded it. This Emperor, Isengrim III, had performed terrible, bloodthirsty rituals to invoke the lost gods. Perhaps that was bringing up lost artifacts. How perfect, then, that the Sky Ripper would reappear to be his destruction. And, hopefully this time, just his destruction.
Let's try not to kill everyone this time. Is what you're going with here?
Oh, didn't I just kill your brother?
14,000 experience.
He was tired of slaughtering ravens. Maybe it was time to test out the new weapon. He turned a knob on the Sky Ripper. It made strange, mechanical noises. The wheels spun faster. It began to hum. The Sky Ripper was following his every step. At least it acknowledged him as the master. But there was no trigger.
Wow.
How was he supposed to fire it? Fire, he said. Nothing happened. Well, maybe it just needed to warm up. After all, it hadn't been fired in thousands of years.
Ooh, I kind of like that purple sword.
The Sky Ripper was making a whining noise now, and its wheels were spinning so fast he could no longer see them. Renato had a thought. Please? He asked. The Sky Ripper began to glow. Boom! The outpost burst into flame. Ravens flapped out screaming, wings on fire. The base was his. The far speaker toad came hopping out. Renato! It croaked, sounding like a toad version of Zenobia.
Don't use the Sky Ripper. It will destroy the world.
Yeah, sure it will, cracked Renato. Pull the other one.
If you don't trust me, go see Calaveras.
That sounded sensible.
I've done that one
Why
before.
did she always have to sound sensible all the time? Oh, it was infuriating. Of course she would say
I
that.
have not done this.
He was supposed to hurry and bring the Sky Ripper to the council so
we're
the
gonna
rebels
do
could
this.
actually win the war. But what if she was
We're
right?
gonna do that one obviously because it's
Damn
the
it.
one that hasn't turned anywhere.
Just this once, he would not let Zenobia get into his head with her logic and her wisdom and her appeals to reason. He was a fox. He'd go with his instincts, and it would all work out like it always did. Oh, he was sounding like a reckless idiot, even to himself. But if there was one thing Renato could never bring himself to do, it was turn back on a decision he'd made.
It's a good thing we get to make different decisions over and 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 over.
Imperials were flapping and cawing all around the ruins. They must be panicking with rumors flying of the superweapon. Maybe they hoped to find and destroy the base before he could put the Sky Ripper into action. The Sky Ripper was whining and heating up. It would be time to use that energy soon.
Hypatia had been the first woman who'd ever tried to convince Renato he was smart. He knew he wasn't nearly as clever as he thought he was. But she'd pushed him to think things through. She had a vision of him that was better than his own.
Oh no.
He wondered if the Council knew he destroyed the outpost. He hoped so. He was excited. With his superweapon, they could actually win their battle with the Imperial fleet.
What was Zenobia talking about? This was a fantastic weapon. Ravens burst into flames with just a touch of its killer beam. He was tempted to leave it on all the time, but he didn't want to accidentally slice off some council toad's head or tongue. She'd been trying to distract him. Well, this time, no one was going to distract him.
Yeah.
Say goodnight, Gracie, said Renato, wondering who Gracie was.
I don't even get that reference.
Long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base. Nothing was on fire. So far, so good.
I was trying to stay away from it. Yeah. I think that's the end. There we go. The council. Let's see what the hell I do doing this time. Swipe this. Since we just
As
blew
he
Oh,
up an
headed
outpost.
towards the council chamber, Renato felt everyone watching him.
You've saved the rebellion, said the council speaker. Frankly, we were afraid you'd turn aside to save that idiot Lapino.
Not bloody likely, Renato told them, feeling he was maybe being a bit harsh on the poor mad rabbit.
If you never make sacrifices, he said, you're probably not doing the right thing. The speaker nodded. Are you ready to lead the charge? Let's roll, he said,
Wow.
with grim satisfaction. Renato set sail for the fleet. The Sky Ripper had lost its whine. It was humming now, as if it had taken some time to seat properly. He had always been irresponsible. This time, he'd done the right thing, made the hard decisions. He was a real hero. He hadn't let himself be distracted by old friends or old lovers turned enemies. Finally, he could be proud of himself.
Oh, yeah. We can totally be proud of turning our back on everyone and everything that we cared about. I mean, Lapino, we can totally turn our back on him because he's a dick. But Zenobia, we learn later that she's in love with us.
He was ready. So was Sky Ripper. The Sky Ripper had a will of its own. It picked out its own targets and set them on fire.
It sure
This was
does.
going to be a short battle. He would set the ships on fire if he didn't need them to get to the Emperor. And he wondered if he'd see Zenobia, or if she'd flee. Wouldn't she be proud of him? At least, a bit of respect. He'd become an all-conquering hero. Don't be shy.
I never thought about him that way. So it doesn't look like we're gonna level up this time around, which is kind of unfortunate. Yeah, I'm still remembering to go that way. Okay, this way. Yeah, let's keep going. Another fight.
You think at this rate, the Imperial army will run out of ravens?
That is so cool. Proud of myself on that one.
There was a parchment on a signpost. It was from her.
Every time you fire, you risk the destruction of the universe. That's insane. We surrender.
He'd done it. He'd played chicken with Zenobia and won. He could hear the horns blaring the retreat. She was wiser than he was, that was for sure. But wisdom didn't win battles.
I didn't see that one coming. Die, everyone. Oh, we might level up. We get 2 more fights. Probably won't be able to level up. And 19 is not a super high combo, if anyone was wondering. So we might not level up till next time. Unless this is a fight. Unless this is a fight. Come on, we want to level up.
And there was Zenobia, wearing the white robes of surrender. She came and kneeled before him. Why didn't you listen to me? I was trying to save you too. You're the enemy, he said. I was never your enemy, Renato.
Oh.
And he realized, not for the first time, how much she loved him.
Then she spoke a terrible word and made a gesture with her hand. She stopped moving, covered in frost, and he wondered why she'd frozen herself. Then the Sky Ripper froze, and then, for a moment, he felt very cold and discovered that he couldn't move. The next thing he knew, the sun was a giant, monstrously red. It took up half the sky, and he was in a parched red desert. And then he was on fire.
I don't even understand what the hell happened right there. We got 5 fire essence we don't need. Oh, her spell froze Reynardo for billions of years until the sun evolved into a scorching red giant. Then Reynardo burned to death. Wow, that's one way to end. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. Next time will be an abbreviated episode again. I'm going to get past those first 2 sections and then start recording when we reach the new section. So, everyone have a great day and a great night, and I hope to see you next time. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this, or if you like Overwatch or any of the other stuff on my channel, go ahead and hit me up. Thank you, and see you later.